Hello and welcome to Inner Code. Have you ever felt completely lost when it comes to organizing your money? Or maybe you try to manage your finances, but at the end of the month, you always have more bills than cash? In 2025, with endless spending options and investment opportunities, organizing personal finances has become more challenging than ever. But what if I told you there's a simple, effective formula that can completely transform your relationship with money? In this video, I'll show you how to apply the 50-30-20 method to organize your finances, eliminate debt, and start building wealth, regardless of your income level. Let's dive into this financial freedom journey together. The 50-30-20 method is a practical budgeting rule that divides your after-tax income into three main categories: 50% for needs, essential expenses you can't avoid, like housing, food, basic transportation, utility bills, and health insurance. 30% for wants, non-essential expenses that improve your quality of life, like dining out, streaming services, travel, hobbies, and purchases of non-essential items. 20% for savings and investments, money dedicated to building your financial future, including emergency fund, retirement, investments, and debt repayment. This approach was popularized by Senator Elizabeth Warren and her daughter Amelia Warren Tyagi in their book All You're Worth: The Ultimate Lifetime Money Plan, but it has evolved and adapted to the economic realities of 2025. What makes this method so powerful is its simplicity and flexibility. It doesn't require you to track every penny spent, but provides clear guidelines to keep your finances balanced. In a world where we're bombarded with over 5,000 advertising messages daily, maintaining financial control has become a real challenge. Simplicity. Unlike complex budgets with dozens of categories, this method has just three major groups, making it easy to remember and apply. Balance. It recognizes that we need both financial security and present enjoyment. By allocating 30% for wants, you eliminate the feeling of deprivation that causes many people to abandon their budgets. Automatic prioritization. By setting aside money for needs and financial future first, you ensure essentials are covered before spending on non-essentials. Adaptability. It works for different income levels and life stages, and can be adjusted as your circumstances change. Financial awareness. It creates the habit of thinking about where your money is going, without the obsession of tracking every cent. Studies show that people who follow some type of consistent budget are 53% more likely to accumulate significant wealth over time, compared to those who don't plan their spending. The 50-30-20 method offers this planning without the complexity that turns many people away. The world has changed significantly since this method was created, and in 2025 we need to make some important adaptations. Housing reality. In many cities, housing costs can easily exceed 30% of income. If you live in a high-cost metropolitan area, you may need to adjust to a 60-20-20 model, where the extra 10% for needs comes from the wants category. Digital economy. With the proliferation of subscription services, many wants have transformed into small recurring monthly expenses that add up to large amounts. In 2025, it's essential to regularly review your digital subscriptions and correctly include them in your budget. With more people working from home at least part-time, transportation expenses have decreased for many, but household costs have increased. Adjust your budget considering this new reality. During periods of higher inflation, you may need to temporarily increase the percentage for needs and reduce wants, always maintaining the 20% for the future. For freelancers and professionals with variable income, a useful adaptation is to work with the average of the last 6 months of income and create a stabilization fund for lower-earning months. Let's implement this method in practical steps. Step 1. Calculate your monthly net income. Add up all sources of income after taxes. For variable income, use the average of the last 6 months. For example, a $5,000 salary plus $1,000 in side income equals $6,000 net. Step 2. Calculate your limits for each category. 50% for needs. $6,000 times 0.5 equals $3,000. 30% for wants. $6,000 times 0.3 equals $1,800. 20% for savings or investments. $6,000 times 0.2 equals $1,200. Step 3. List and categorize your current expenses. Analyze your bank statements and credit card bills from the last 3 months. Classify each expense as need, want, or savings, investment. Identify where you're spending more than the recommended percentage. Step 4. Adjust your spending to fit the percentages. If you're spending more than 50% on needs, consider a cheaper place to live. Renegotiate essential service contracts, and look for more economical transportation alternatives. If you're spending more than 30% on wants, eliminate unused subscriptions, reduce the frequency of eating out, and establish a 48-hour waiting period before non-essential purchases. Step 5. Automate the process. Set up automatic transfers to separate accounts. Needs account, 50% of income, wants account, 30% of income, and savings investments account, 20% of income. Use personal finance apps that automatically categorize your spending. Set alerts when you're close to reaching the limits of each category. In 2025, we have various technological tools that make applying the 50-30-20 method easier. Financial management apps. These apps connect to your bank accounts and automatically categorize your spending. They use AI to predict future expenses and suggest budget adjustments. Plus, there are platforms that gamify saving, making the process more engaging. Digital banks. They offer multiple fee-free accounts to physically separate your money. With digital envelope features, you can allocate money for specific goals. And credit cards come with adjustable limits by spending category. AI financial assistants. Chatbots that answer questions about your budget in real time. Predictive analytics that alert you about possible budget overruns. Personalized recommendations for spending reduction based on your profile. Browser extensions. Tools that show cheaper alternatives while you shop online. Impulse purchase blockers that add a cooling period before finalizing purchases. Practical tip. Choose just 1 or 2 tools to start. Many people get lost trying to use multiple apps and end up abandoning financial control due to overwhelm. Even with a simple method like 50-30-20, it's normal to face challenges. Challenge 1. My needs expenses exceed 50%. A short-term solution could be to temporarily adjust to 60-20-20 or 65-15-20, always maintaining the 20% for the future. For a medium-term solution, you might want to renegotiate debts to reduce monthly payments. And, for the long term, consider more significant changes like shared housing or moving to a more affordable area. Challenge 2. I have high-cost debt. How do I fit it in? Well, prioritize paying high-cost debt like credit cards using part of the 20%. You might also consider debt consolidation to reduce interest rates. Temporarily, you might need a 50-20-30 model, where 30% goes to debt repayment until eliminated. Challenge 3. My income is too low for this method. Focus first on ensuring basic needs. Even if you can't follow the exact percentages, try to save at least 5 to 10% of income. Look for ways to increase your main income or create additional income sources. Challenge 4. I have seasonal expenses that unbalance my budget. Create a specific fund for annual expenses like property taxes, car registration, or school supplies. Divide the annual amount by 12 and save monthly. Use a separate account for this predictable expense fund. Challenge 5. I always end up spending more on wants than planned. Adopt the envelope system. When the wants money runs out, stop spending until next month. Use only physical cash for wants spending to have a tangible perception of expenses. Find free or low-cost activities that provide similar satisfaction. Once you've mastered the basics of the 50-30-20 method, you can evolve to more sophisticated strategies. Subdivision of the 20% for future, 10% for retirement like your 401k, IRA, or long-term investments, 5% for your emergency fund until you accumulate 6 to 12 months of expenses, and 5% for medium-term goals such as a home down payment or education. Income increase strategy. When you receive a raise or extra income, 50% of the increase amount goes to savings or investments, 30% to improve your quality of life, covering your needs, and 20% to increase spending on wants. Every 3 months, analyze your spending in each category. Identify patterns and optimization opportunities. Adjust the percentages as your life evolves. Decide together what constitutes need versus want. Consider joint accounts for needs and separate accounts for wants. Establish shared financial goals for the 20% future portion. Reserve part of your wants budget for books, courses, and financial education tools. Participate in online personal finance communities. Consider consulting a financial planner annually for a professional review. The 50-30-20 method isn't just a budgeting technique, it's a financial philosophy that balances your present needs with your future dreams. In 2025, with so many financial pressures and consumption options, having a simple and effective system like this can be the difference between always living on the edge and building true financial security. Remember the main points? Divide your income into 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for the future. Adapt the percentages to your reality, but never completely eliminate the portion for the future. Use technological tools to facilitate the process. Face challenges with practical and gradual solutions. Evolve your method as your financial life matures. The true power of this method lies in consistency. Don't worry about following the percentages perfectly from the first month. The important thing is to take the first step and gradually improve. If you found this video valuable, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share with someone who might benefit. In the next video, we'll explore how to build intentional relationships, the new trend for authentic connections in 2025. Until then, start applying the 50-30-20 method and share your experience in the comments. Thanks for watching Inner Code. See you in the next video.